So we're here at the historic Behringer Winery with Michelle Branch.
Hey.
Hi. How's your day been so far?
It's been pretty much the perfect day. I woke up, I had some coffee and a muffin, and I drove up here to the Behringer Winery and got to play some songs and drink wine with friends and take a tour of the facilities, and it's been pretty much a fantastic day, and it's all going to end with us eating a catered lunch in here in this old house by the fire. So
You performed one of the new songs. I'm assuming it's on your new record. You've got a new
Yes.
album coming out, West Coast Time, early next year.
Yes.
And you performed one of the songs today that you said you wrote for your husband. It was
Yes.
really beautiful.
Thank
Tell
you.
us a little bit more about that song.
yeah, there's a song called For Dear Life that I wrote for my new album, and my husband and I have been together 8 years, married 7 years, and since we first started dating, I was just like, I want to write a song for him, and nothing, every time I went to write a song, it just seemed so cheesy and disingenuous. So I finally, I was working in London on this album, and he was home with my daughter, and this song just kind of came out of the sky and landed in my lap, and I wrote it really quickly, and so I finally wrote a song for my husband Teddy, and it's called For Dear Life, and I'm excited for people to hear it.
Is it difficult to write a romantic song for someone that you live with all the time and they hog the TV and they hog the bathroom mirror? Is it difficult to get in that headspace?
I'm a hopeless romantic, so it's not difficult necessarily to write a romantic song, but it's difficult to write when you know the person who you're writing it about will hear it and that you care for them. You want it to be able to express everything you're trying to convey, and so that's why I think it took so long for me to write it.
I've always been curious about this. When artists like yourself write a song for someone specific, how do you share it with them? Because for me, I'm really shy, so I would think that would be awkward. But how did you share that song with him for the first time?
It's a little awkward, I'm not gonna lie. I came home from London and I said, we have a batch of new songs, I want to play them for you. And I played it first, and I said, what do you think about that song? He's like, it's great, I love that song. I was like, it's about you. And he's like, really? Okay. So I didn't bring it up until after I played it. So, and now he hears it all the time.
Tell me about some of the other songs on the new project. And I understand as an artist, they are all your babies. You've labored over each and every one of them. But are there any songs in particular at this moment in time you're closer to on the album?
Yeah, there's certain songs that were very therapeutic for me to get out, so I enjoy performing them and listening to them for those reasons, because it's very cathartic for me to get it out. There's a song called The Story of Us, and it's a song I wrote about a friend of mine, and it was really therapeutic to get that song out, and so I listened to it and I'm like, yeah. Here you go. So I mean, I'm gonna have a heart attack when she hears that song, because I don't want.
Oh, she hasn't heard it yet?
She hasn't heard that song. I don't know what she's gonna think of it. So that's a song on the new record that I'm really fond of, and this song for my husband is probably one of my favorites.
Fantastic. And do you have any idea when the album's going to be released?
No idea. No clue.
Well, we'll definitely keep everybody posted
you.
on that as we
Yeah.
get more details on that. You spent a time in the world of country music, and now you're back in the pop music world. But I'm curious how that shaped your songwriting. Is it different now?
It definitely it influenced me in an enormous way. I really used to I was really I write by myself, and I never really let anyone in on the creative process, and was very kind of secretive about it. And when I moved to Nashville, there was such a sense of community there, and a lot of my close friends who I started spending a lot of time with were songwriters, and that's how they made their living. And they would have sometimes 1 or 2 sessions a day, and they would just, whether they felt like writing or not, they'd show up and they'd write. And I just found that so fascinating, and kind of jumped into that world and really learned that, okay, wait a minute, I'm a lazy songwriter if something isn't kind of naturally forming in my head. I don't push it, but it really showed me that if I want to, I can sit down and force myself to be creative, and sometimes you come up with something that's fantastic. And then I think the biggest thing I learned from Nashville is how to kind of be a more well-rounded storyteller. It's all about the song and all about the lyric there. And I was really fortunate to work with some fantastic writers down there who really taught me a lot. So I think my writing has changed for the better because of it. I hope so. Anyway.
Are there any great stories to tell that are still in your head and not yet in song form that you're at some point going to write a song about and share with us?
I'm constantly. I mean, if you saw like the bottom of my purse is strewn with like receipts with like half lyrics on it. I constantly have songs going through my head, and some of them are a day old, some of them are years old, where I'm like, I'm gonna finish this one day, and you never know which one is gonna rise to the top.
You have a young daughter, and you were very young when you broke onto the music scene. How do you think that your experiences, being so young and entering the working world like that, how do you think that's affected you as a mom and how you raise her?
That's a good question. You're the first to ask that question. I feel like the biggest lesson that I'm hoping my daughter will learn from my experience is that if you're passionate about something, that you can achieve anything you want. And I had everyone tell me that it was impossible to be a professional singer-songwriter who was well known for a living. You know, I went to high school and everyone said, Michelle, you need to come up with a backup plan. This is not going to work. So I was planning on going to Berklee College of Music and maybe being a school music teacher or something. I had no idea what would happen, but I would come home I would be writing songs in class. I'd come home from school, I'd go to my room, I'd write songs. I was just obsessed. It's the only thing I could really focus on, and I would really hope that as she gets older, that no matter what she ends up doing, that it's something that she eats, sleeps, drinks, breathes, that it's the only thing that she can think about doing. I don't care what it is, as long as she has that passion.
Is she showing any signs of having inherited mom's music genes or DNA?
Owen can carry a tune for sure, and she sings, and she's very appreciative of music. But she's actually, which makes my husband and I laugh, she's very academic. She goes to her room and she breaks out science books, and she loves schoolwork, and she loves going to the museum. So we're like, watch, she's going to end up being like a rocket scientist or something, and her two slacker parents who are musicians, we're going to be like, what?
She'll be financing your records.
I know. She's always, she wants to know how everything works and why, and so she asks the questions that my husband and I never did at her age.
One last Michelle as mom question, because I'm a mom too, and I know that kids have this just uncanny way of, at the least expected time, busting something out that embarrasses you in front of everyone. When was the last time your child did that to you?
Hourly? No, my daughter, she's grown up on a tour bus pretty much, and she lived from the time she was 4 weeks old until, throughout the summer, she's been on a tour bus pretty consistently. And there's a lot of like cursing from the boys, the crew boys, the band boys, and I'm like, watch your language. And it's getting to the point where my daughter was doing something the other day, and she stubbed her toe, and she said S-H-I-T really loud. And everyone kind of looked at her like, wait a minute. And she's like, what? Mom and Dad say it. And
Oops.
So the cursing thing, we've started a swear jar at our house that we have to put money in every time we swear. So we're trying to watch our language around her.
Well, Michelle, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to talk to us, and we're very much looking forward to your album. Keep us posted on your album, West Coast Time, when it's going to be released.
Yeah, if you follow me on Twitter, that's pretty much where I tell every moment of my life, so that's probably where you'll first hear news of the release date.
Well, we're very excited about it, and hope to get you back to Portland sometime
Thank
soon.
you.